Okay, I think we're set. Um, see, everything working correctly. Yeah, I would assume. So, hello, lovely people on the internet. This is Jean. I'm just gonna keep this open for you to see. This is Jean, and or Cozy Galvanism RCG. And this is gonna be a tutorial on how to play Sburb or the Genesis project. Now, what is the Genesis project? Well, the Genesis project is basically a remake of the game Sburb mentioned in Homestuck. So basically, in Homestuck, four kids start playing a game which is called Sburb, and basically this puts them in like a massive quest involving all kinds of shenanigans. And the goal of the Genesis project is to recreate this game and, well, make it playable for us without, well, destroying the world. So yeah, what I'm gonna walk through is how to get the game, what sessions are, and then obviously the game controls. What can you do in game? How do you do certain stuff in game, and whatnot. I don't know how long this stream will be. I also won't have chat open, so I won't be able to look at chat. Although I could just use my phone. Let me set up my phone. Because once that's all set up, I can start. Oh. Right. I think we're set. Okay. Then let's start with the first thing we need, which would be the game itself. Now, the game itself runs on any platform as of date. You can get it at spurb.me, but I'm gonna put the links in the description. For now, it's www.spurb.me, which lands you on this lovely page. And there is a big download button. You want to click on it and then download the version you need. I think Linux and Mac have 32-bit and 64-bit combined. Windows, you have to choose here. I'm running Windows 64-bit, so I'm just gonna download that. All right. Now we have that done. We're having this zip file containing these files. So we want to create a new folder. I'm gonna name it the Genesis project. And inside this folder, we're gonna unzip the files. This leaves us with 2 files in one folder, but we only want to get the file stuff done. Now, to avoid confusion, I'm just gonna play the stream on my phone, so I can see if the game is not well scuffed. 1 second. Sorry for that. So I'm just gonna have a look at the stream while I'm doing this, so I can well validate that everything is showing correctly. So let's start this up. Hopefully. Yeah, looks correct. Okay. I'm gonna turn down all volumes. Okay, there we go. Because it's a bit loud. Okay, let's. It is alright. So once we're in the main menu, well, first you want to register, because this is what you'll need in order to start playing. So you click on this, and it puts you on this page. Just fill in your stuff, submit, and then you're all ready to go. I already have an account, so I don't need to do this. Then I'm gonna log in. After logging in, we're greeted by the session browser. Basically what the session browser is like a real basic lobby. I'm gonna explain like the settings of a lobby of a session in a bit, but first I'm gonna elaborate on what a game or a session, how we call it, actually consists of, and what it is in the actual Sburb game. Basically, Sburb sessions are, well, sessions of 1 to 12 players, with the goal of achieving the ultimate reward, which is creating a new universe. Basically, the game starts off by players receiving a copy of Sburb in some way, and once they start playing it, at some point, the Earth is bombarded with meteors, and the players need to teleport out of that danger zone. In order to do that, they well, not in order to do that, but they also prototype their sprites to help them along the way, and well, to further the game, what sprites are, I'm gonna explain a little later. And essentially, this is what this is. I'm just gonna clear up those sessions, and now we're gonna create a new session. Well, we're not actually creating a new session, but I'm gonna create one here, and we now need to enter a name for the session. This can be anything, pretty much. So yeah, feel free to put in what you want. Then a port. You don't need to port forward on your router, but it helps. We've had users who had issues if they didn't forward the port. Stuff like Hamachi and stuff aren't needed. But yeah. After you filled in those details, you can leave the port alone in most cases. You can invite players, and you can invite players in 3 ways. Either you either fill in everything here and just click create without filling in names here, or you can create the session. You can invite them here, yeah, or you can create the session, and go to your profile page on the website, which is here. Gonna look in here as well. Nope. And then we have a sessions menu here. Now, obviously we don't have a session at the moment. I'm just gonna create one. We're not gonna invite anyone. Now, essentially this puts me right in the game. I'm just selecting some parameters, but we're gonna get into this later. Firewall access, yep. Now before we take a look at everything in the game, we're gonna refresh sessions, and now we have the Genesis session here. And from here we can invite users to our session. These need to be usernames from the actual game. You usually find players in the Genesis project Discord, which I'm gonna link in the description as well after the stream ended. You can also just send this link to players, and they can click join session to join the session. I think these are all invite mechanisms up until now, so yeah. We're just gonna return to the menu because we don't want to be in a normal session. We're gonna delete that. And essentially, we're gonna do a test session. This is a single player enabled session where you can test stuff out. But you're highly encouraged to play with other players for a reason I'm gonna specify later. Alright. In any way, we're greeted with the character creator. You can just create your own avatar here. There are some homages on Homestuck. I'm just gonna create random for now. Clicking a few times. I feel like derpy, but you know. Come on. That looks lovely. Alright. Then to explain everything, we have saving and loading buttons for the character. The random button just used. And now comes the little weird part. The Silodex, the inventory modus, which is basically defines the ways on how you can access your items in your inventory. As it says here, array access is access any item. You can just freely grab any item. But there's also more sophisticated modes. This is basically considered boring. So you have hash map. You can basically access any item as well, but they're stored with a hash function. So basically the name gets assigned a certain value, and you can only put one item with that value inside that slot. The encoding isn't very user-friendly. We also have tree. You can only access the leaves of the tree. Basically, the icon here, I don't know if you can see it pretty good, explains it pretty well. You can't access the branch cards or the root card. You can only access the leaves, like the lowest cards. Then you have Q, and you can only access the first item you put in. So you're putting 2 items in, and you can only access the last item you put in. And then you also have the stack modus, which is almost the same as the queue modus, where you can access only the last item. I don't think I explained that correctly though. Oh wait, no. Okay, I explained it wrong. So basically, queue modus is you can access the last item in your inventory, and stack is you can only access the most recent item. Pretty confusing, I know. It's confusing me as well. But for now, we're gonna go with the easiest one. Then we're gonna choose a house, which you can create freely as well using the house creator. Before storming into that one, you may want to keep watching. Unlike the quick intro to building, I'm not very good at it, but I'm gonna run you through the basics later. So a great starter house is John's house. Once we got everything done, we can click done. We're just gonna start the game. And from here, we're greeted with the actual game. Now, starting from the game, you'll be pestered by these yellow boxes, which will just print on messages on the screen. They give you some kind of advice, so you can follow them. But yeah, you have this video, so you don't actually need to follow them. We're starting off with the most basics of basics. You move around with the WASD keys quite fast. You can interact with objects by left clicking. Like left clicking the printer lets me generate a perfectly generic object, which is this cube. This is your inventory, by the way. There's array mode has a capacity of 4 items. So after you took 4 items, you can't put any more items in. Yeah, so I added items to my inventory. To get rid of them, you can either drag them out from this side or from below here, or I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, shift right clicking moves them on top on the stack modus. We're gonna get rid of all of them. We don't need perfectly generic objects. We can also interact with chests. We're just gonna open like a chest window, kind of like a chest inventory. Not every chest has the same contents, obviously. But like in John's chest, we find a hammer and a sassacus, which is a book, a cake, some fake arms, a beagle puss, smoke pellets, a magician hat, and nails. Well, I'm gonna equip the hammer now. So you may have noticed as I put stuff in my face, which is a way of adding items to your inventory if, well, you can't interact with it directly, or too slow for you, you can just drag it onto this card spot. You can also just, okay, no, you can't do it here, but on lying objects you can click them once, and then you can press the circle button again. So yeah, as you noticed, the hammer is not in my inventory. It instead went to my strife specibus, which is basically a way of registering weapons of a certain kind to your character. So basically, I'm going to my strife portfolio here, and I have a strife specibus of hammer kind, and it's holding my hammer. It's not occupying any inventory space. There are various kinds in game. I'm gonna go with hammer here because it's my most familiar one. Yeah. Now I've already attacked here. Left clicking is basically your most used action in the game, which is just a normal action. If you click any blank space, your character is gonna try to attack. You can't attack without an item, without a weapon. For example, when I put the hammer in my inventory instead of my strike specipus, I can attempt, but it's not gonna do anything. Only if I have this in my strive specipus. Jeez, that's a hard word. I can actually attack stuff. All right. Another thing you can do is right-clicking. If you don't do anything while right-clicking, you're gonna abjure, which in this version doesn't do anything yet. If you hold a certain direction, you begin to slide, which is a really fast way of moving around. There are some advanced movements we're gonna take care of later. Alright. Any house should have a PC, and John's house does as well, which is this one, which gives you access to pestering, which is the way of communicating with other players in the game. I can pester with myself, but it's not gonna do much. I see nothing. There's another pester button down here, which is like a global chat. It's shared between all players, everyone can see it. If you're into role-playing, you shouldn't use this one, only for like very administration thingy stuff. If you want to really roleplay this, you should only use the PestaChum client application. Alright. Now that we covered basically the basics of moving around and doing stuff, how about we actually, well, cover what we need to do now. After entering a game, you basically want to search your Sburb disk, which is a disk with a green spirograph on it, much like this one. And for John's house, I already know where it is, and I will show you. You can explore the house yourself when you're trying it out. And this is our guardian, by the way. Take your father if you want. So yeah, my Sburb copy is inside the kitchen. John's house also features a Sburb guide. The Sburb guide for assholes. And yeah, it's covering everything. And I may have realized I rotated, which you can do with R and T. Yeah, pretty much everything is saved in here. There's an error in the guide, which is that you can defend by pressing E, which doesn't work. You need to do just a simple right click, which defends. But yeah, that's broken for now. We're gonna go into the kitchen, and there lies my disk. It looks like this. It can lie anywhere in your house, ideally. And you're gonna grab it. And like that, it's not doing anything in your inventory. You need to go to your PC and insert it. But first, I'm gonna grab an item is crucial for our mission, which is the bunny. Because we need to put the bunny back in the box. Alright. Now that we're back in the room, we're gonna take the disk and insert it in our computer. We're just gonna put this screen on it. I'm also wondering why the text box disappeared, but oh well. Now, after you've done that, you can basically start with the game with the builder. Now, before we dive into this, I need to explain to you how the building and everything works, because it's related to sessions as well. Effectively, when you're playing alone, you can just well, insert the disk and start building your own house without any real limitation except your build grist, which is the value up here. You can click it and you see your other grist types, which are used for crafting, which we're gonna talk about later. So yeah, if you're single player, you can just build your own house, and there's no real chaos involved or anything. However, if you're playing with more than, well, with another player, like minimum of 2, maximum of 12 players, in a session, it's gonna behave differently. Essentially, the game builds up a so-called entry chain. This is it's done like that in Sburb as well, in the comic I mean, and it kind of works like this. I'm gonna open the notepad. So basically, you have 3 players: player A, player B, and player C. Once the game starts, well, let's say we have 4 players. Once the game starts, a so-called entry chain is determined. Basically, I'm gonna put this in Homestuck terms as well, so you get the lingo down. You can in Sburb you are both the so-called server and the client player. As the client player, you can, well, move around like you just did, like this in this mode. This is basically what I call the client mode, and yeah, and the server mode is the one who can build your house, and how that looks like, well, we're gonna see later. So yeah, the game determines an entry chain. That means, in our example of 4 players, player A gonna be the server player, player B, which makes player B the client player of player A. So player B, client of player A. And player B is going to be the server of player C. Player C is going to be the client of player B. And the server of player D. And player D, which is the client of player C, is the server of player A, which to complete the entry chain makes player A the client of player D. So it's a cycle. It doesn't matter in which order you do this, because this is not gonna change. This is determined when the game starts. Since we only have one user here, I'm gonna be my own server and client player. So yeah, this also puts like a little strain on the players because they need to communicate with their server players a lot. All right. Now, I'm talking so much about the server. Let's dive into it. Once you insert the Sburb disk, you have another option, which is build on your PC. And once clicking that, you get into build mode. Now, this mode is huge, like really huge. Basically, you move around with WASD as well. You can zoom in and zoom out using the mouse wheel. You can interact with stuff with the left mouse button. The actions it's gonna take is determined by what you choose up here. And yeah, you have some basic controls here. Like you can use these arrows to rotate, but you can also use the R and T button. You have the up and down arrow, which makes you move stories up and down. You can only see stuff on on the story you are. So for example, it doesn't show the Guardian here, but it shows it here, and now it went down the stairs. So, oh, there he is. So yeah, I'm gonna cover the basics on building now. So we have the select button. The select button lets us move objects and do various kinds of stuff with them. For example, I'm gonna select this tree, and as you can see, I can move it around freely, putting it anywhere where it has space. But I can also move it to the top right into this recycle box, which makes it, well, disappear. And in turn, it's gonna give us build grist, which is needed to perform, to deploy and build stuff. So for now, we're gonna, as an example, we're gonna take the tree and recycle it. And we received 3 build grist. We can do this with pretty much any item. If you watched my live stream, not my stream, my record attempts at 0%, you're gonna see what I delete all the time. So yeah, for example, now we have 37 grist. I'm gonna destroy this stuff as well. You can also press the delete button. Alright. Freed some space up. And now we're gonna go into revise, which is made to build walls, or well, rooms, floors, and the dreaded stairs. First of all, we're gonna create stairs. You can either hold control, or you can just click this once. And now the build controls are a little bit wonky. Basically, you select the origin point of where you want to start it. For example, this. And then you drag this into the direction you want to build. And you see, this is not quite, well, this is what I wanted, kind of. So you see, I want to create stairs up there. But oh no, it's hard to notice, but there's a space between the stairs and the wall. And while you could jump over it, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to connect this stuff again. We're gonna use the second option here, which is the floor option. There is no shortcut for it, I think. No. So you just have to click it. And then you need to start from the point where you have at least one square space. So like this, we have to select top right one. This makes this rectangle green, and we can extend it to the stairs. So now this is built. It consumed a little grist, and our client player can walk on this. Now, why did I actually build up to the roof now? Well, before we go into that, I'm gonna show you the basic revisioning or revising, which is to build rooms. So, kind of like the floor fashion, select the starting point and drag. Now, before I create anything useless, let me create something downstairs here. I'm gonna create just a simple box. And there's currently no way to get in there, unless you add a door, which you can do by pressing C, and you get into this kind of mode. So we want to add a door here. Now you can enter this room. All right. You're gonna need these rooms a lot later. I'm gonna explain why. For now, we're gonna dive into deploy later. Because it's, oh well, no, we can actually do it now. Deploying lets you place an item. Grist cost is displayed next to it, so we can display. We can put down like flowers. Just gonna recycle them again. Then we get to our next option, which is bulldoze, which is the exact opposite of revising, and just get rid of everything. Next up, we have the Fernalia registry, which holds our, well, session items. These don't cost any grist, but you can only place one of each kind. At the same, like there can only exist one thing for each client player. So in here we have the Crookstruder, the Punch Designix, the Totem Lathe, the Alchemiter, the pre-punched card, the Spawner, and the Item Maker, which is just a debug item. You won't need to use this one. What these are in detail, I will show in a few minutes. So we're gonna place down our entry items. Extruder, the Punch Designix, the Totem Lathe, the Alchemiter, and the pre-punched card. You can also place down the spawner, but you can also do that later. I'm just gonna place it down here now. And with that, we're all set to enter the so-called medium, which is where the real game starts. Yeah, I think that's everything. And then you also have the Athenium, which at the moment only holds basic items. But as we speak, it's getting extended. So crafted items get added in there. Alright. You can exit the build mode with escape. Now, to make stuff easier, I'm gonna show you how to craft the most efficient weapon. You want to rotate in your room and collect the Problem Sleuth poster. And you see you have a hammer here. Just keep these items in mind. And we're gonna go on top of the roof we created. You're also gonna pick up the punched crookside pinata, which is our entry item, which is gonna transport us into the session. I'm gonna take a quick sip because my throat is getting a little dry. There we go, that's better. Okay. So now, what are you gonna do with all this stuff? Well, before we do anything, well, no, not before we do anything. We're just gonna enter the session now. I think we're all set. So, at first, you want to go to your, yeah, I forgot the name. I'm just gonna cheat a little. Yeah, to a Crookstruder and click on it. And it's gonna say pry open. Before I click this button, a little background information. If you click this button, a timer will appear, and from then on you have to do everything inside that well, timer. I'm gonna try to fit in a little bit of alchemy inside, so we don't have to do it while we have enemies. So yeah. I might take another item though, which is Classicus. Unless I missed. Okay, no, it's fine. Alright. So I just noticed that it wasn't particularly good that we did that. But actually I'm gonna check and put down. I can put one bunny here. You will see why. Alright, once our pride is open, I will also there will also be the sprite popping out. The sprite will need to be prototyped before entering the medium, and the sprites basically determine how the enemies will look like. At the moment, there is no stats increase or something tied to the chosen entry items. Chosen by the prototypes, I mean. But I'm assuming we will add this later. So yeah, let's just dive straight into it. And we're having this wonderful red flashing sprite. Basically I put this item down for a reason. I'm gonna move left a little, and it's gonna take the bunny that was on the floor. There are various entry items you can use. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But this is basically bunny sprite. It can't do anything for you except healing you. So yeah, this is the time I was talking about. It's slowly counting down to 0. I'm just gonna hurry up a little, and we're gonna get a crookside dowel, which we will need for the entry item and a little crafting. A basic level of crafting. This is the punch design X, which is used to do a punch card alchemy. For example, I'm gonna show you how to end and or something. Basically, ending is you can I should I should really start from the start, but we don't have much time. So basically, you punch a card, and it's receiving a whole pattern. Then you punch another card, it's gonna be a hammer. And I just noticed we don't have space. I'm just gonna put down book, and Now once we have both items, we're gonna put them inside the totem lathe. And we're also gonna put in Brookside Dowel and press the end and button. You can also put in only one pre-punched card, only one punched card. But yeah, I'm gonna show that in a bit. Now we have this. We can put this inside our alchemiter. We're just gonna create an item out of this using our build wrist. And hooray, we got this. Now we can also, okay, I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna show this in a bit. I'm gonna show crafting after we enter because we're running really low on time. And as you can see, it's changing music and stuff. So basically, for entry, you need your entry item and your Crookside Dowel, and just lathe it. Take your entry item, go to your alchemiter, and put in your entry item. We're just gonna create it instantly. And then it's gonna spawn this thing. This may look different depending on your entry item, but in general it's something like a dog or an apple, which you need to click and enter. Now this is a bit rushed because we are running on tight time. But basically what this is gonna do is it's gonna put you inside the medium, which is basically the space where everything will take place. As soon as you enter your medium, you and your house is gonna get teleported onto the planet which gets created for you, which you see here. These are generated randomly, more or less. And they get assigned a random name. Mine is called the Land of Clockwork and Pipes, which basically is a time planet. I know this because the clockwork is a good indicator that you're a time player. It doesn't have any significance now, but it will later. In the middle, you have Skya, which at the moment is not accessible yet. But this is the planet where everything's gonna, like, where your final battle will take place. You can't do much here, so you're just gonna click exit. As you can see, my sprite has transformed, and I got and we have some enemies here. I'm just gonna take quick care of the enemies, and there's a lot of them. Obviously, the item I decided to make here wasn't chosen by me by sheer luck. This is actually the strongest weapon in the game. The strongest weapon you can basically create out of nowhere. Right. The timer has stopped now, so we can breathe a little. And the music keeps playing. Nice. So there's various stuff we can go about now. We're gonna just continue where we left off, which is crafting. Basically, now that I got my hammer, I can show you the other type of combining items, which is called O-ring. You go to the punch design X, and what would be best is if you took a random item, something you don't need, stick it on the left slot of the punch design X, and I see I can't put that here. Okay, let me just grab a generic object. These are pretty good for punching. And you're not gonna click this button because it will only punch the pattern of the generic object into itself. No. You're gonna drag like the item you want to modify on it. Like next to it. In this case, we want to modify the hammer. And now there's an arrow which points onto the perfectly generic object, which basically means we're punching the hammer onto the generic object, which we're going to do. This makes the items code, like punch code, appear on the card. And if we decide to put this into the lathe with a crookside dowel, we could make another one of these hammers. But this is not what we want. We want to modify the item, so we're gonna drag Sassacus into here. You can do this with a lot of other items as well. But Sassacus is pretty much good to show you because we have this item from the start of the game. And the button is changing to the OR symbol. I'm gonna click that. And at first it may seem like nothing has changed, but if you pull this somewhere, you see the whole pattern has changed. Now you have a single punched card. You grab a new dowel, put in the punched card, put in the dowel. We're just gonna make us, well, it kind of looks like the same hammer again, but trust me, it isn't. I'm gonna drag this in here and create this. And you see this costs one more for a reason, because this is now the heavy Warhammer of Zillihu. I'm gonna put in both hammers. So as you can see on top here, the normal Warhammer of Zillihu has an attack speed of 2 and a damage of 5. The item we created now is the heavy Warhammer of Zillihu, which has an attack speed of 0.8 with a damage of 8.4. So I can't just spam like I did, but yeah, it's pretty slow, and this one is like this. Basically, if you want to apply an effect onto an item, you want to use O-ring. If you want to combine two items, you use ANDing. Basically, ANDing is you punch two items into two different items, and put them together in the totem lathe, like one on the left, one on the right. And O-ring is punching the same card with two different items. Alright. I think that covers crafting pretty well. Alright. So what can you actually do now? Can either, well, meddle with crafting a little. You can also go inside here, not inside here, and spawn enemies or go into the dungeon. We're just gonna go into the dungeon, which didn't seem to work. For some reason, our sprite is getting really annoying. Yeah, I get the feel that entering the dungeon is pretty buggy at the moment. So we're not gonna do that. Basically, this teleports you to a new type of building where you can find awesome stuff. But be careful, you can't get out of it except you die or you find the exit. Let me take another zip. All right. Next up, we have, well, since you're hopping here the whole time, you can also chat with this little fella. Basically, the different sprites have different dialogue, and yeah, sprites are basically your companion for the entire session. At the moment, they don't do much except heal you, but that might change later. Now the other stuff we can do is actually progressing the game, which is done by entering our gates. I can already tell you we won't be able to build to as many gates in this session because we're only one player. But we can build up to the gate leading to our land. Basically, each gate, every time, how can I say this? When you enter a session, a certain number of portals get generated above your base, like above your home. Entering these gates will lead you to various locations. If the portal number is uneven, it's gonna take you to the respective lands. The first one being, actually I can show this on this one again. So basically, if player A goes into gate 1, he'll be transported to his lands, to his own land. In my case, this would be the land of clockwork and pipes. Now, oh god, I'm slowly losing my voice, guys. Now, if he enters, if player A enters the second gate, he's gonna get transported to the server player. In this case, player B. If player A enters his third gate, he's gonna get transported to the land of player B. His fourth gate and so forth and so on. It will transport him to player C and his land, and player D and his land. The last gate, which isn't present in the game yet, is will lead to Skya, but this one isn't in the game yet. They can't actually get to Skya at this point. So yeah. We're just gonna build up to a house. Gonna take care of the enemies. It's gonna use our fancy hammer. Quite beefy. Alright. We're just gonna That was weird. I think there are some secret enemies here, but they won't bother us too much. So yeah, we're just gonna continue our quest. I'm just gonna move this out of the way. Oh, that's why. All right. Yeah, basically to reach the portals we need to build up. I don't think I can show you the gate here. No. No. I can't really show you the gate now. Oh, there it is. There. And it's not on this level. It's a few levels above that. But we can build up. And the reason I said that we will need the room function a lot is because you can't place stairs on this type of plane, like on these thin areas. You can't use stairs. Like they can't originate from them. So what I like to do is creating a room with revise. Well, not a room. Oh. And just create stairs. Move up a little. No, save. And this builds like a long staircase. We are also gonna do, because we need it, create like a little room here, and of that. You can see more enemies spawn along the way. I'm gonna create a little more of space. I'm just gonna take care of the enemies. In theory, if you play multiplayer, not in theory, if you play with more players, you can just kill the enemies while your server player builds up. Oh, oops. Yeah, this is advanced stuff. Like if you jump and attack, you do a flip. So yeah, defeating each enemy rewards you with grist. Okay, took care of those. Now continue building. Now you see this isn't enough. We need to build further up. Stairs basically need to have free open space like this. This puts us in a tight spot right now. What we can do is which basically lets us create stairs out of nowhere. And you see the portal is not aligned with the points, so we're not high enough yet. We're just gonna there it was. There. Gone now. Gonna come on. Yeah, the controls are a little bit funky. I think it's because of the enemies. Yeah. So we're just gonna take care of those. the more enemies you kill, the more experience you get, and the more health you have, and well, more damage and stuff. So as you can see, can't quite reach this gate yet. Let me just take care of the item. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, what's going on? I think it's a little bugged. I'm just gonna use a little key to get out of this. Oh boy. I think this is the bug the people were talking about. Not too bad. We have our ways. Actually, that was a bad decision. Could have just done this. And we need to go back to our house. Go. We need to build up even further. Like this. Eh. Oh. Creating it. So the controls like me to. And this is the plane where you can access the gate. This. And yeah, from now on you can pass through the gate however you please. Right. So this is our gate. Which is gonna take us to our land. Go through it, and we land in here. This is the land of clockwork and pipes. Of course, you can go back, get back to our house. At the moment, there is not much we can do inside the lands. There are dungeons spread around. You can find like villages where you can talk to your talk to a few NPCs. But that's pretty much it. There's also a quest pad on the planet, which doesn't do anything yet. But yeah. Alright. And I think this actually covers everything that's possible in the game right now. So yeah. I'm gonna show you another thing, which is well, what happens if you die. And I hope I can get this to work. Yeah, I think I know what happens. Yeah, so pretty much a dungeon spawn in our house. which is fixed in the next update. Let me show you what happens if you die. Oh, well, there's one. Probably gonna take a while. Let me. I'm gonna move the transportalizer. I'm gonna spawn the big ones. Come on. Can hit me. Come on. There we go. So basically, if you die, you lose all your items in your Solidex, and you're gonna spawn in your room. Later, there will actually be the Sburb alternative, which is being reborn as your dream self, but that isn't implemented yet. So yeah, I think this covers pretty much everything you can do in this game at the moment. So if there are any questions, please put them in the put them as comments or something, and I will answer them as quick as possible. I'm gonna put the link to the game and the Discord into the description, and yeah, I think this covers everything. Right. Then I thank you for watching, and I sure hope to play a session or two with you guys soon. Bye.